I'm tearing up. Hey, it's Nicole. You don't care that much? Let's move on. Today we're talking about He's All That, the latest movie that everyone's loving to hate. It's a modern spin on the 1999 rom-com She's All That. The plot is the same. Basically, a disgraced popular guy takes a bet to give an unattractive girl, Reed, a super hot kid except with glasses, a makeover into the prom queen. The main differences of this 2020 movie are that the genders are swapped, the concept of needing glasses to see is more widely accepted, and it's TikTok star Addison Rae's acting debut. Addison Rae is a trailblazer, creating visionary content that landed her The Tonight Show, her own cosmetics line, and the starring role in this movie. But hey, I can't hate from outside the club. My first encounter with this movie was it being absolutely skewered on TikTok for its continuity errors. Her hand disappears into the green screen while dancing, she hands out invisible flyers, her mouth doesn't move.
And now she's starting her own squad with Jordan. Unbelievable. Wow, look at you. Who is it?
Because of this, I came into this movie with extremely low expectations. I'm talking bar in hell, expectations I have for my significant other kind of low. And you know what? I'll say it, this movie was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I mean, at first, it really did get worse as it went on. Initially, I thought that Addison Rae's acting wasn't that bad, until scenes that required emotional depth came up. The movie's overbearing critique of influencer culture, with the main character being a real-life influencer, was giving me executive who doesn't really understand how social media works at all while still wanting to talk about it to be relevant. And this movie's ending? Torture. There's so much more, but let's go through this movie so you have a better idea what I'm talking about. Padgett is a senior at the incredibly named Cali High. She wakes up, gets ready, and then starts live streaming to her fans, pretending that she didn't just spend an hour to wake up like this. The product placement here is astounding. Padgett establishes that she's known for makeovers, and then she exits her aggressively pink room so that we can see that she's actually poor. Or so we're supposed to think. This is California, so the house is still probably worth quite a bit. Padgett's single mother, who, fun fact, played the original girl in She's All That, has been trying to keep Padgett in the rich school zone so she can attend a rich kid's school and keep up the facade to her followers and sponsors.
This amazing school district full of snotty, entitled trust funders.
Hey, some of my best friends are entitled trust funders.
Exactly, and then you feel this tremendous pressure to keep up.
I don't know why, because anyone on the internet knows that you don't have to be rich to be an influencer. And in fact, it probably helps if you're more relatable. Padgett catches her influencer boyfriend cheating with one of his backup dancers, and Padgett freaks out and starts throwing pastries at him.
We're over, okay? You don't deserve me, you don't deserve my love, and you don't deserve my croquembouche, you croquembouche!
Like crying out of the corners of my eyes. Turns out Padgett's friend was recording the whole time, the incident goes viral, and then Padgett somehow becomes an internet meme. Like, because she had snot in her nose, people start calling her Bubble Girl. Her sponsor, played by Kourtney Kardashian, whose acting actually makes Addison's look really good, threatens to drop Padgett.
Honey,
I get it. I can sympathize. You were betrayed, mistreated, humiliated.
Pulling my sponsorship? That's really problematic for my college.
I am your biggest supporter. No one has more faith in you than I do. But until you turn things around, don't talk to me.
This is a pretty clear instance of writers being immensely out of touch with internet culture. No way would Padgett ever have been canceled for being cheated on. She probably would have gained followers for throwing pastries at him. Caring about a nose bubble of all things is maybe something that you or your high school bully would care about, but not the internet. A snot bubble of all things is embarrassing, and you and your high school bully might care about it and fixate on it, but it's not interesting enough for the internet. I could see if they went into her Facebook or Twitter and went digging for a racial slur from like 2009, but this ain't it. For some reason, she's hemorrhaging followers and is desperate to regain her popularity. So she makes a bet with her friend with mysterious stakes to turn an unpopular loser at her school into the prom king.
A bet.
not just a bet, the bet. You know, the one we always talked about.
Guys, that sounds a little extreme.
Not sure how that follows, like the bet is to prove she still got it, but to whom? If it's her followers, then why is she making a bet with her friend? They choose Cameron, the antisocial photographer and also the most annoying, pretentious character ever.
Then you're just a...
Found the truth in a world of bullshit? Yes.
You can tell that this actor is hot just wearing a wig, which is just as ridiculous as the original, in which she just takes off her glasses. Padgett bonds with Cameron by taking horse riding lessons with him. I don't know why, but horses are a huge thing in this movie and it really bothers me. You'll see. Anyway, they flirt by hurling poop at each other. Is this y'all's culture? Cursed. We learn that Cameron has mommy issues. The issue is that she's dead. Anyway, there's this horrendous scene where Addison Rae, Padgett, starts dancing at this informal talent show, and Cameron, I hate everything Queller, is for some reason charmed by something that should make his blood curdle. Padgett starts to flop when she sees her cheater ex in the crowd, and then Cameron runs on stage to boost her confidence and sing with her like they're on High School Musical.
You should go. Probably this is a truly awful idea.
You make me feel like I'm living.
Kind of offensive, honestly. This was so out of character that if I were to choose a point where I completely checked out of the movie, this would be it.
Now, baby, I believe.
Eventually, Padgett gets the makeover we've all been waiting for. She cuts his hair, and then Cameron's little sister says the most unhinged thing.
If I didn't know any better and you weren't my brother, I'd say you looked pretty hot.
Is this Donald and Ivanka? There's another couple scenes where these characters go to a Great Gatsby themed party, which frankly I don't think was necessary at all to include, considering it didn't really progress the plot or characters much. But cool to know that this movie did have a budget and all of it was spent here instead of giving them a more realistic set to work with regularly. Naturally, Padgett's friend eventually reveals her villainy in a horrifically obvious and direct way.
Oh my God, you've been planning this all along. The video.
What about it?
You were holding the camera. My entire life was falling apart, and you didn't press stop. You let it happen because you knew you were gonna run.
Forces Padgett to tell Cameron about the bet to turn him into a prom king, thus ensuring that he wouldn't play along with it anymore, and this friend could then win the bet.
I was a bet.
No,
I was a fucking bet.
This friend basically just wants to become prom queen herself. At prom, we are cursed with a dance break that went on forever. I'll be honest, I don't usually get emotional during movies or at all, but this part is where I actually cried a tear. A single tear of frustration. Padgett, however, still wins prom queen and presents a slideshow of her real self. All of them are completely normal, non-ugly photos that she looks completely fine in.
For the last 4 years, I've been so busy selling myself on social media, putting out this image of who I wanted people to think I am. This perfect person. I even lied about where I live. High school's just a bunch of scared people pretending to be something they're not. It doesn't have to be that way.
Padgett abdicates her throne, which goes to the runner-up, who is somehow this person who has only showed up once in this movie so far.
I'm Celeste. I just wanted to say that while I reject the whole idea of the prom court as an antiquated heteronormative construct, if I didn't, you'd totally have my vote.
At this point, I just have no words because nothing makes sense anymore. Just kidding, I do have more words, and I am deeply sorry. Padgett leaves prom, and Cameron comes riding toward her on a horse, having heard everything she said from his little sister. They kiss, and after a little fast forward, they get matching loser tattoos, presumably the consequence of the bet. And then they ride horses into the sunset. Did a horse write this? Why are there so many horses? Yep, so that was He's All That. Mainly, my issue with this movie is it feels like the people involved were trying really hard, and yet not at all. I mean, the school is called Cali High, there are so many editing mistakes, and the product placement is unreal. Addison's acting is not terrible when her character is being sunny and charming. Like, maybe that is her actual personality. At the same time, when you consider that she's essentially playing herself, you would think that she would just knock it out of the park. And whenever she has to deliver a heavy line, there's just no depth to it.
My entire life was falling apart, and you didn't press stop.
The main beef I have, though, is this heavy-handed critique of influencer culture and social media. Beyond the unrealistic surging follower account for certain minor events and lackluster content that gives me Emily in Paris vibes, you get the sense that this movie does not really understand the culture it's critiquing. Padgett's whole arc is supposed to be her character learning to shed the shallowness of influencer culture.
It's all fake.
she does sort of grow in that she realizes that it was wrong to use someone to further her own social standing, and incredibly realizes late in the movie that she was not influencing out of the goodness of her own heart, but rather to make money, and drops later on her Kardashian sponsor. But then, well, Padgett's arc is confusing for one because Addison doesn't convincingly play this character enough to make us forget that Addison in real life has not actually reached this point if we consider influencer to be something that you have to grow out of. That's also pretty debatable. It's also weird because her slideshow includes a lot of hashtag relatable photos, which we know is content that performs really well for influencers. And then at the end of the movie, Padgett continues to be an influencer, except now she's a travel vlogger with an Insta boyfriend. So are there tiers of travel vlogger and beauty influencer? Anyway, the more I talk about it, the more problems I come up with, so better stop here. One last point I want to mention though, this movie has received a lot of criticism, and rightfully so. Is it good? No. But what about the original, She's All That? That movie wasn't originally well received either, and there are a lot of tired tropes.
You're vapor.
And definitely better movies in the same genre. So is this remake better than the original She's All That? Also no. Well, I haven't watched the original, but I'm gonna say probably no. People who have watched both of them, especially recently, as it'd be much more interesting to know without the bias of nostalgia, let me know. Alright, that's enough. If you got anything out of this video, please subscribe, like, watch another, and fight me in the comments so I can make more out of spite. Cool. See y'all.